So the question is, how important is your LOR? Harvard, for example, said it is one of the most critical aspects of their application process. And if a teacher were to say that you are one of the most outstanding students they've ever seen, that would get a rank of a number 1 out of 6 for teacher support, school support, and that is definitely going to push you very much further into getting in, okay? AdCom asked for a letter of recommendation because a teacher is considered a great judge of personal character. She has seen hundreds, if not thousands, of children, and therefore she can really comment on your academic prowess and capability within a classroom, right? Basically, admissions officers want proof that you are going to take advantage of the academic resources they have on campus. So only if you can show that you've really taken advantage in your formative years 9 through 12, do they really feel they have the proof to say, yes, if I accept this student, they're really going to value and benefit from everything that I have to offer them. So let's get into some of the very low-level details, the nitty-gritty as I call it. So who do we ask? So ideally, first, you need to ask for the major that you're applying to. So if it's economics and you don't have an economics class, ask one of your other STEM teachers, right? If it's English that is going to be your major, then go for an English teacher, and so on. Focus on your core subjects and make sure that there's a teacher who's representing that. For your secondary teacher, make it a complementary teacher if you can. So if you already did biology, try not to do chemistry. Maybe think of doing language arts or business studies or something that kind of supports and can give you two views as a student. Try not to do art and music unless you're applying for an art or music program because those are not considered core subjects. If you have extenuating circumstances like a divorce or low grades or some economic hardships, ask your teacher to mention this in your letters so that you're not trying to hide a red flag, but you're saying, yes, I know this red flag exists and this is why. So your teacher relationship is going to be the most important here, right? If you just suddenly have never spoken to your teacher, you just attend class, and then you say, can you write the recommendation? You can understand why it's going to be really generic and she's not going to have any personal connection to you. It's common sense that somebody who likes you is going to write a better recommendation for you. So if you know your teacher well through academics and ideally even through an extracurricular, that is the key person that you want to ask so that they can convey multiple aspects to your personality. When we look at the timeline, your teacher should have a month to basically write our recommendation. Whether or not they take a month to write it isn't the point, but if you're the first person to submit it to your teacher, I'm sure she's gonna appreciate it. Okay, so the first thing I wanna do is show you what is the form that your teachers are gonna fill out. So one is they need to basically look at all of these qualities: academic achievement, intellectual promise, maturity, concern for others, and so on, okay? Teachers have to rank you as compared to your peers. One of the top I've encountered in the top 1%, top 10%, below average, right? They're gonna first check mark all of these, and then here's their free form space where they can write exactly what they want. I want to basically give you an example of some teacher recommendations. I have two examples here. And in yellow, I've highlighted where they've mentioned a personal quality. Blue, I've put where they've done an anecdote. And green is exceptional support, right? So see in this first example, here in yellow are the qualities: sensitive, creative, articulate, passionate, right? Then they put some examples in blue. She produced an extraordinary year-long thesis, right? She publishes her poetry in our literary magazine, and so on, right? So you'll see this first example is filled with anecdotes and qualities that they want to highlight about the student, okay? The next one is similar, right? So this person is passionate, perceptive, sharp. They're ranked the top of an extraordinary class as an anecdote, whether it's the old computer hard drives in the school library, her final project in class, and so on, right? So they keep giving you examples. Here's the green one that I wanted to show you, which I talked about as exceptional support. She is one of the most exceptional students I've encountered in my 15 years of teaching. Obviously, if a teacher says that about you, that is tremendous, and that is really gonna help push you up there, right? Okay, so how do you apply your strategy? This is something that a lot of kids miss out on, and they just say, I'm not allowed to interact with my teacher, so whatever she writes, okay? So that should not be the case. Basically, if you remember that your storyline is like a puzzle, okay, go back to some of the courses and take a look about how you become memorable. That memorability is about creating a storyline that's very solid and tight, okay? So writing that you want to be an economist, then your teacher should be a teacher of business studies, okay? If you say that you are a risk-seeking child as one of your core qualities and you love a challenge and you're innovative, then ideally your teacher needs to mirror some of those core qualities in her essays. It's not that your teacher cannot say anything different. She can, and she should, because a lot of qualities get covered. However, again, it goes back to the strategy idea that if what you're saying is matching what your teacher is saying, it makes it a lot stronger as a story, and it makes you more memorable, because I'm like, oh yeah, this is the risk-seeking child. All her teachers say she's risk-seeking. Her activities say she's risk-seeking. Her essays say she's risk-seeking. So I really know this is a risk-seeking child, right? And that makes me remember you because you have this particular phrase that makes me think of you, okay? So the important thing here is that we take control. And how do we take control of this without getting in the iffy of morals and ethics? Basically, you're going to be giving your teacher 4 things. One is your application strategy. Take the course if you want to know what exactly that is. Your personal statement, your activity list. And the 4th one is a document most people, I would say 99% don't prepare, but all my students have to prepare it, which is your teacher interaction. So we'll look at all of those. Think about this. Your teacher has 100 things to do. She might have 10 or 15 recommendations to write. If somebody spoon feeds her the information, it will make her job so much easier. And if she has all the content up front, your recommendation is going to be better, okay? So let me again give you a look into a real student example. So this is the document that she shared with her 2 teachers that were writing the recommendations. The first one is your statement of purpose. So this is actually what this child wrote for their statement of purpose. Her statement of purpose is a transformation she underwent and explains why it is that she wants to study what she's studying. So obviously if the teacher knows what your interests are and why you're studying it, she can mirror that, right? The next part here is your common app activities. If she knows, okay, the number 1 activity this child cares about is being an inventor of this patent, then maybe the teacher can write about that, or so on. So again, it just gives her direction. The third piece is your application strategy. So whatever strategy you come up with, so here's my major themes, I'm an empathetic engineer, right? Here are my core values, I'm inspirational and I'm empathetic, right? Things I want people to know about me, here's my long-term goals, right? Then the last is what I think is very different than what a lot of people do, and this is your student-teacher interaction. So you want to include basically your memorable moments, right? So I participated in this fair, you told me to pursue my small farmer crop app. Remember, is your teacher going to remember the name of your app? No. But if you write all of this for her up front, it's very easy for her to just type it up, right? Here you mentioned, without your support, I could not have qualified at the local level, right? So this is again indicating that this is something that I maybe want you to talk about, how you supported me throughout it, right? You're not asking her to write exactly this, but by giving her all of this information in this nice little document, she can just overall write a better recommendation. She doesn't have to spend time thinking, what has this child done in the last 3 years that I've known them? By sharing documents with them up front about what you're going to write, they can help complement it. It just makes your storyline a lot tighter. So what are the takeaways, okay? A teacher is a great judge of personal character, and that's why they ask for her recommendations. She also can compare you to numerous students, and they want to see that comparative. That is what the form is largely about. A big mistake students make is treating this as independent of the rest of their application. You need to drive the narrative of your entire application. So wherever you can inform your teacher about what it is that will help your ultimate application come out better and the recommendation come out better, right? And finally, we need to support our teachers with whatever information that we can so that we don't get a generic letter. So if that means typing up every time you interacted with your teacher, so be it, please do it. It helps them a lot, and teachers always come back and tell my students, I really appreciated that and it helped me a lot, okay? Hopefully you learned a little bit more about your letters of recommendations. If you have any comments or questions, keep them on the bottom. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to the channel. I keep on giving you little tips and tricks to improve your applications overall. Thanks so much.